Hello and good morning. Welcome to my program, which is called A Senior's Perspective with a Twist. Today, I want to talk about church. Yes, I said church. Um, that's a subject that sometimes scares a lot of people. Uh, church, I attended church when I was a child, and I had a drop off where I did not go. It wasn't that long. Or I went infrequently, I should say. But as I got older, I continued to go or return to going to church regularly. And I have found church uh, a source of strength, a source of deliverance, a source of help. Um, Church involves spirituality. It involves a place where people meet the Lord. It's a place where we hear God's word. And it is important because whether you know it or not, you are a spiritual being. There's a spiritual side of each and every person. And something or someone is going to be a part of your spiritual being. And I'm talking about other than yourself. We are influenced by many issues in this life, and it takes spiritual understanding that does come from going to church. And I'm talking about guidance and leadership that each person needs. Church, a place certainly where people meet, but we should realize that it's an individual circumstance. That when we come to church, though there are many people, or more than one, more than two or three, however there may be, maybe 1,000, maybe 500, maybe 20, but church is for the individual, that we might come and be in the presence of God, to hear what His Word says. So, seniors and young people from 20 on up, church is important. Your spirituality is important, whether we realize it or not. Some people use other methods, not church, but they go and do other things. And some don't even think about going to church in order to meet their spirituality. Some people just are here and they don't address their spirituality. They live each day by day. And it's sort of living to what is relative. In other words, whatever I'm surrounded by and it affects me, I react to that, and I don't think of a spiritual part, but I live my life the way I want to. That's how some people address the issue of spirituality. And church. Um, Church is a place where people come and they hear God's word. I'm being very careful in what I'm saying because I don't want to say something that does not address God. Church, actually, church ecclesia is a body of people who worship God. Church is people. We use that term and we use it loosely. It applying to, say, a building, like you say 17th Street Church, or you say Mount Pisgah Church, or Mount Moriah, or any other name of churches that have that name. It's not the building that's the church, it's the people that are the church, that make up God's church. So, church as I said, church attending is important because there you can receive things that you need for your spiritual growth, your spiritual well-being, your health, spiritual health. Uh, God's word in the church is a help to God's people. It's also a vehicle that delivers people who do not know God. That's what's taught there in the church, that in order for people to get to God, they need to come to Jesus. Church is important, as I said. I go to church regularly. I do read my Bible. I could read it more. I do depend on God. I do think about church when I'm not in church. And I know I said earlier that people are actually the church, but I'm speaking in today's language. People understand when you say church, you're talking about a place. But the truth of the matter is, church is a body of believers. So, continuing with going to church. As a matter of fact, I'm in church now. I'm early, and I'm here to worship God, and I'm here to learn. I'm here to get spiritual aid to my heart, to my soul. I'm an older senior, and I know that most of my living years are behind me. Therefore, with that in mind, I come to church to be nourished in my latter days. Seniors, we know that most of our living years are behind us. And those years were our younger years, productive years. Not that we aren't productive now, but as far as making money, as far as raising a family, those were our early years, and those are behind us. Many of us have grandchildren now, and we have extra time. But church is important to me. I hope it's important to you. Maybe you don't even go to church. Okay, you don't go to church. I come to church because I know my soul needed to be saved, and then my soul needs spiritual upkeep. It's like buying a car. You get a new car, and then that new car from time to time requires maintenance in order to keep operating. My heart and soul need spiritual nutrition, spiritual nourishment, and that comes from coming to church and hearing God's word. So it's a regular practice for myself to come and hear God's word, to come to church. There are many seniors that do go to church, and there are some seniors that don't go to church for whatever reason. But church is an important part of people's lives, whether they go to church or not. It's important because when you come to church, you meet God, you hear his word, you see his people. And seniors, we ought to be an example for those who are coming up behind us. Let them know that you are going to one day leave this earth, and you do need to think about what's going to happen to you. And you do learn that from coming to church and hearing God's word. So as I said, God's word is important. Coming to church is important. And whether you agree with me or not, whether you like what I'm saying or not, it doesn't change the fact. Remember now, we have only been here a few decades, and the world's been here for a very long time, and God's word has been here for thousands of years. I know the New Testament, some 2,000 years, and then you take the Old Testament of the Bible, thousands of years before that. And what I'm saying is we are kind of small to argue with something that's been here for a very long time. And many people have depended on God's word and the church. So today, as I complete this discussion about church, in my opinion, church is a good thing. And from time to time when I talk on my program here, Senior's Perspective with a Twist, you will hear me mention biblical things, church-related issues. I think me as a speaker, when I'm talking about a content provider on this program that I have, this YouTube channel, I think of myself as a responsible person to relay those things from time to time. I'm not always going to talk about church issues. I'm going to talk about life. And I hope that you are not offended. And if you are, God bless you. But I speak from my heart. I speak the truth about church. Very important part of many people's lives. And I thought I would just address that today in my program, A Senior's Perspective with a Twist. I hope that you have a good rest of your day. I hope I've said something to be helpful. And if you like the program, I ask that you would hit that button, subscribe. If you have a comment you want to make, that's fine too. I pray that something's been said to help you. God bless you and have a good day.